What's going on, everyone? This is Jay from Premier Gaming Entertainment, and finally wanted to make a video about this whole Toronto Raptors Wizards series. Yeah, I know the series is over, but I didn't want to make a video commenting on the series until, a team actually won on the road. As it turns out, it ended up being a closeout game for the Raptors. So I just wanted to briefly touch on that. Um, I thought the game in the series, thought the series would go 5 games. Really, it should have. The Raptors should have closed out that game in Game 4 and just made this a 5 game series. So it's kind of disappointed that it had to go 6, but it is what it is. Washington is not your typical number 8 seed, and I don't think people realize that. You have a lot of people hating on the Raptors and saying they're choking and everything like that, but let's be honest, Washington is not your typical 8 seed. People don't remember that John Wall basically missed half the season, so I think if he had been there and the team had been more consistent, that this would have been like a number 4 or 5 seed in the East as opposed to being a number 8 seed. So this matchup was actually really like a second round matchup being played in the first round. So, shout out to the Wizards. They put up a good fight, but they just weren't good enough as a team to get it done. And there's a couple of reasons why I feel that Washington, even though they have the talent, is just not going to be good enough to get any further than they get in these playoffs. And the number one reason, but not the most important reason, but I think the number one reason, or first reason I should say, is that they don't have the proper team chemistry. To me, there's not a team that gets along. Like, it's not like DeMar and Kyle, they're actual friends and stuff like that. And the Raptors as a whole, it seems like everyone gets along real well. They're all friendly, messing with each other, joking with each other and stuff like that after the games and stuff like that. This Wizards team seems more, professionally together, but not anything more than that. And, I understand that with teams, not everyone has to get along. You don't have to be friends with everyone on the team, but it definitely helps for team chemistry if everyone gets along, and I just don't see that from the Wizards. So I mean that's the first thing. Secondly, and I think the most important thing is this Wizards team is literally how the Raptors were up until this year. They're built exactly the same way, and that's it's good to win games here and there, but it's not sustainable, it's not consistent. And, you can win a few games here and there, but you can't win a playoff series with these guys. And that's why they just lose every single playoff series. Something has to be made, as far as changes to the team. I don't think necessarily that they have to blow up the whole team like I'm hearing people say. But they just have to, the same way that the Raptors made a culture change to the team, is the same way that the Wizards have to make a change to their team. Literally, I feel the Wizards are the same as the Raptors in that their backcourt is the core of their team, the best 2 players, but it's basically like if those 2 guys don't put up big numbers every single game, they're not going to win. If one of them has a bad game, they're not going to win. It's too much heavy lifting and too much of a load for both these guys every single game. And that was always the Raptors' problem. And, the difference between the 2 teams is, if you look at Game 6, these guys, as far as the Raptors go, don't have to rely on these guys that much anymore. I mean, DeMar didn't even play in the fourth quarter until like 3 minutes left, and by then the game was pretty much decided. So, in order for Washington to get better, they have to they have to somehow or another get more diversity from their team, get more out of their bench. I mean, they have some good tools. Like Mike Scott, to me, was a very good player. I didn't know he was that good. I mean, he was just a Raptors killer. But they need more players, and they need more outside shooting other than like Bradley Beal. Like, who else is a 3-point shooter? That's been the Raptors' problem. They didn't have enough 3-point shooting to make it anywhere, and that was a big part of the problem. So those are just things that I think that Washington can improve upon to make the team better. I don't know how they're going to do that necessarily, especially with a lot of money being invested in certain players, but somehow or another, those are a couple things that they need to work on to do better. Now, as far as going forward, we obviously were waiting the matchup between the Pacers and the Cavs. Honestly, I don't really care who they play. Obviously, everyone feels that LeBron is, the Raptors' kryptonite and blah, blah, blah. So I guess from that standpoint, I'm sure the Raptors would love to beat LeBron, take him out of the playoffs in order to, get that out the way and nip that all in the bud. But to be honest with you, I don't know who's going to win that series. It's a toss-up. Both teams have won on each other's home court. This game is obviously going to be in Cleveland, but Pacers won Game 1 in Cleveland and blew them out. So nothing is guaranteed, and the whole difference in this game is going to be how good Oladipo plays. If he plays half decent, I think the Pacers are actually going to beat Cleveland. And, if that happens, I don't see LeBron staying in Cleveland. I see him moving on to another team. I mean, there's just too much heavy lifting for one guy. I mean, he's in a worse situation than the Raptors have been in. I mean, if he doesn't play good, Cleveland has no chance of winning. So, well, we just have to see how that goes. Hopefully, whoever we play, I think we're going to be the favorites, and I think we'll win that series. Overall, this team, the Raptors, much improved. It's not a matter of, Kyle and DeMar having to make all the plays down the stretch and having to score 30 points and all that. They're just this is a much well-rounded, well-improved team. And one thing that I do want to say, Fred VanVleet I knew he was an important piece of the picture, but him coming back in Game 6 let me know, and just him not being out there for most of those games, it let me know and let the team know how important he was to the flow of everything. Like, it was not only just him being out there and his shooting, but also his, playing defense and rotation-wise, all that stuff played a big part in how the Raptors play. And him not being out there, he was sorely missed. I didn't realize how important he was to the natural flow of how they play until he wasn't out there and they had to try and win without him. Him coming back, like, he didn't even have a big game, but he had a big impact on the game. Just being out there, being, just spreading the floor, being a scoring threat, making plays, just everything about him being out there just made a difference in the game. So I'm excited to see what happens next round. Like I said, I think that whether it's Cleveland or Indiana, we're still going to be the favorite in that series. Obviously, we're going to have home court advantage, which is going to play big in us for the rest of the playoffs. As it is right now, the only team that would have home court over us would be Houston. So, we played exceptionally well at home all year, and I don't think that's going to change. We just have to play our game and just be consistent at it. and try not to go into old habits like iso ball, and I think we'll be all right. So, anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching it. You know, like I said, I hope that we can win it all. This is going to be our year. You know, I said in a previous video that you know, our window is closing. We're still going to, regardless of what happens this year, I think we're going to do well. We're still a very young team, but you know, our key players are getting older, and you know, this is the year where the East is wide open for us to do something. So I hope we win. So anyways, thank you for watching the video, and have a good day. Peace.